Hello, good morning. Welcome to this MagiCAD for Revit MEP webinar. This morning we're going to look at just an overview of the common / general tools that we offer into Revit itself. These are not particular to any discipline. They're just a set of productivity tools that we've created to help any Revit user. It could even be architectural structures if they were suitable as well, but obviously let's concentrate on MEP. So I was going to take you through some of the tools this morning. It won't be a full demonstration, because it'll take about an hour to do that. So what today is just an overview. It's just a talk through the tools that we offer, and then if you do wish to have a demonstration of the software or this particular aspect of it, then we can arrange a demonstration, and the details will follow at the end of the webinar itself. So the common tools, as we've called them, is here in this tab. As I said, the reason they're called common is because they're not particular to vent, piping, or electrical or support and hangers discipline. They're not particularly to do with MEP design, but they are useful for Revit MEP users. The first tool I want to show or describe or talk about is this provision for builders work openings. There is a separate webinar available on this tool alone. That's why obviously I can't show this in action today, because it'll just take up all the webinar, but there is a separate webinar on this tool itself. So I'm just going to talk about what it does, and then you can, if you want to have a lot more detail on that, if you go to our website, I'll just show you on the screen now. If you go to our website and you can go to learning, then webinars, you'll see upcoming webinars, and you'll also see recorded, and in here you'll see builders work tool is here from the 13th of the 9th. So have a look at that if you wish. So the builders work tool, it works by either putting a manual provision for an opening in, or an automatic one which detects the collisions between MEP services and architecture and structure, and as such creates a provision for the whole, and then you can choose the settings in here. Again, I'm not going to go through all this, I'm just showing you that it exists. So you can choose settings for offsets and when holes become one slot and things like that. And once you configure all that, you run the tool and it will create the provisions for the builder's work. So you can create a request for a hole, and the architects and structures can then get hold of the model and then use our free add-in, which is here. Our free add-in, they don't need MagiCAD, they just get this free add-in, and they can just use this to create the holes and communicate back to you. So as I said, I just want to talk through this, look at the webinar for the full details on that. Split segments, if I just click on this, you'll see that this is a tool for dividing up ductwork, pipes and electrical distribution services. And the way this works is you choose cut lengths of each type of duct or pipe series like this, and you can put the cut lengths in here in priority order, and then you can have some other settings about tolerances and things like that. But effectively what you're doing is cutting the pipe and duct up into sort of manufacture lengths, and you can do it for the whole project or the view or current selected objects or whatever, or levels by level. And all you do is hit OK, and it will actually just cut the lengths into of the duct and or pipe work into standard lengths for you once you've done that. So it's quite a straightforward tool. You just like this, you just assign that to that and press OK. It just cuts the lengths down, and if it's got when it's done that, it will be divided up into manufacturable like lengths in the priority order that you put there. So it's quite an easy tool. So I'll just show this one in action. So Yeah, so you can see now that this is now like a cut length here. You can see there. So what instead of being one long duct, it's now split into like 1 meter lengths here, like that. You can see. So it's quite a straightforward one. We are not a manufacturer's fabrication tool, so that is one tool that lends itself towards that side of things, but we are a design tool primarily. So if you want to do manufacture, we wouldn't replace something like Siskiyou or Fab MEP or fabrication parts now. So if you want to do actual design to fab, then I would use a fabrication software, but some designers want to show cut lengths, that's why they have this tool in here. And the next tool is clean up and deliver. This is like an e-transmit, or if you remember the AutoCAD, e-transmit used to bundle everything in one place and clean XREFs out and things like that. So this is similar. So you choose your source file, which is the project that you're in. It doesn't have to be. Choose a target file, so you just select where you want it to be saved. And then down here you can choose whether you want this model to be preserved with the work sets, discard work sets, audit, you can delete or maintain revisions for Revit revisions, that is. Compact the file and then leave it open at the end if you want to purge anything for yourself. So that's one setting. And it's interesting, you can actually strip out manufacturer's data for any of those products, so you can choose which products you want to strip out. So it could be mechanical equipment, plumbing fixtures, whatever it is. And then you can actually strip out the manufacturer data, but you can also rename the families as well. So this will rename, so if you had like 10 air terminals with you know, a manufacturer's name in the title of the family, this will rename the air terminal to air terminal type 1, type 2, type 3 and so on. Also the family type names as well if you wish it to, so you can hide exactly the family or the manufacturer if it's referred to in the family name in there. When you're removing this manufacturer data though from here, it primarily removes the manufacturer from the type properties. So if I click on like a fan coil unit here or a climate beam, the type properties for manufacturer is here. So you've got product code, and you've got manufacturer here, you've got description of what it is. All these things are a bit of a giveaway as to which manufacturer you've chosen, so it will strip all that out, but it will maintain, importantly, all the technical data associated with that item. So that's how that works there. And then you can also select if you want to keep the links with the model or strip the link reference out. That'll prevent people loading up your model and it's saying nested links are not available, etc., etc. So if you want to remove those, you can. And then you can strip out view sheets and views, so you can filter by function there, like ceiling plan, elevation, whatever category of view or sheet it is, and you can choose which one you want to put in. So if I click that, it's just going to have a 3D view and get rid of that one. So that's just going to have, say, selected for export. You can see there that it's just going to have a 3D view and that's it. So all these views will get stripped out. So if you're the sort of company that wants to keep your model free of your own views and sheets, etc., when you share it with your project team, then this is a good tool for you. And then lastly, you can also strip out schedules and legends if you don't want that to be available as well. So you can strip out whatever you want down to the sort of bare bones of a model. But once you've done it, you just save the selection file, like save as, choose whatever you want to call it. Then the following week, if you do the same thing every week, you're stripping out, all you do is just load up that selection file. It'll remember all the settings that you had in these tabs here, like so. So it's a very, very handy tool that included in our software. Makes life a lot easier on a Friday when you're trying to rush a model out the door. Bill of materials. This is just a sort of multi-discipline bill of materials, so you can basically report anything you want, any category of object, any parameter you want into here. So you want to, these are preset ones, you can configure all these in the data set as you want, but if I wanted to have a look at everything to do with ventilation, for instance, in this here, I could do it by current view or levels, and then you can even do it by system. So if I wanted to have bill of materials just for my supplier, then I could, or do it for all systems and press OK. And you can see that it does a bill of materials, and it tells you exactly, you can see there what's in this project, handling unit, bends at this size, number of, bends at that size, number of, joints, total length of rectangular ducts, circular round ducts, each size, length, and then supply air terminals. So you've got everything in there. All you do is copy to clipboard and then paste that into an Excel sheet. So the big advantage over this, over Revit, is that Revit doesn't handle its multidiscipline schedules very well, but with this you can configure any category of anything at all. So it could be light fittings and circuits, it could be radiators and air terminals with ductwork and pipework, with you know, light switches and sockets. So whatever you want to do, combine it in there, and you can configure any of this data as well in the data set. So if you just go into the data set and you just choose the report template here, and then on the left is all the categories you want to choose for your bill of materials. On the right hand side, here's all the data that you can associate with that you strip out into that report. So it's very, very straightforward. The next one, spreadsheet export. This is a tool to take things, any parameter with any value out of the project into a spreadsheet, and then do whatever data manipulation you need to do in a spreadsheet like Excel, and then bring it back in again afterwards and update all those values. So again, there's a separate webinar on this. There's you can see on the screen now, we've got a there's a spreadsheet import export on the 13th of the 10th. So if you want to have a look at that in detail, then you can. So I'm just going to quickly talk through it now, but effectively what you do, you just choose any category of object or whatever it is that's in the project, in the current view or by level, and then you just want to export cable trays, cable tray fittings, conduits, whatever it is, over to that side. You can filter by type of parameter you want, or type of the filter text. So it could be like length, something like that, and then just put length in there. You know, it could be system code or system name, like that. So all you're doing is just building up on the right hand side any categories of object and then any parameter about that, and then once you've just choose a target file here, you just export to a spreadsheet, and then once you've done that, you manipulate all the data, and then just go spreadsheet import, choose the file, and then bring it back in again, and it updates all the values for you. So that's quite a straightforward tool, very, very useful though, of course. IFC exporter, this is to export IFCs files, and all you do is create a load of property sets in here for each type of IFC category. So in here, for example, we've got air terminal. So on the left hand side, all the native IFC part types are here, and all we're doing is mapping Revit native part types to these. So you can choose exactly how the IFC file is created, and then also below here you'll have the option to add parameters into these devices as well, or products or categories, as you see fit from the project. So what is quite a powerful way of exporting to IFC. There is some improvement in Revit 2017 in the IFC here, because Revit's now giving you a slightly better IFC export, which is pretty much looks like partly like ours, with property sets and configurations here and classification settings. So it's similar to ours now, Revit 2017. So that's the Revit one. Obviously, you can also in our IFC exporter, you can do the same thing. We'll have some more functions, IFC4, the latest format, and You have slightly more options in here how you want to export from here, and also there's a batch exporter where you can export. Well, no, nothing defined at the moment, but you can export by batch, so you can export like hundreds of IFCs at once. So you don't have to spend hours and hours clicking each one. You can just do a batch export. BCF Manager. This is BIM collaboration format, and it's a way of communicating between parties. It's not that widely used in the UK at the moment, but it interacts with Celebri and Navisworks. So both those softwares are compatible with BIM collaboration format, and basically it's a report where you just discuss topics. So you create topics on the left hand side, create screenshots, you create the components in here as well, so individual components, and when you send this BCF zip report off to your project team, they can, with an IFC or something, or even a Revit file, they can come into here and then click on these topics, and it'll just filter down to this, with this view here, it'll filter to the components that are selected in here as well. And then you can just send this report back and to constantly. So what the idea of this is, it saves you when you're having your BIM coordination reviews every week or every 2 weeks or whatever it is on a project. So instead of someone sitting there just typing up like Word documents or whatever it is, for like, you know, hundreds of incidents in a project, the idea is that you just have one BCF report, BIM collaboration report like this, and all they do is just keep adding like this, adding topics constantly into here, and then comments about you know, the resolution for those, or further comments asking for more information or whatever it is. So you just have one report for the whole project, and you just have hundreds of topics down here with all the comments about it, and that just sits on like a shared server somewhere for your project team. So that's what this is about. So we provide that with this software as well. Schematics. It's in Common Tools for the moment, but you can see it's just a means of creating sort of schematics. It's not automated yet, but you can create schematics very easily by just choosing objects that you want to put into the project, for instance, and you want to put any of these components in, then you just drop them into the double regulating valve there or something, and they just load it in, and then it just appears as a detail item. You just drop it onto the pipe there, and it fits quite nicely there. So it's just a means of creating schematics in a drafting view of Revit, so you don't have to do it in AutoCAD anymore. And it's not a particularly clever tool, but it's a time-saving tool, because we've gone through the process of creating all these like hundreds of symbols in here, electrical and mechanical, and you can see there's just hundreds. So all the time it's taken to save to create all these that you've saved. And it's got these little dots, so you can see where it's got the connection points on, so it'll snap the lines to it. So there's an example of a heating schematic that's been done using that tool. So it looks just like you'd expect in AutoCAD. There's an LV schematic, for example, electrically. You can see it's just all in the MagiCAD schematic tool there. And then finally there's a ventilation drawing as well. So you can see how it all goes together and how it looks. It's all quite straightforward. Just moving on then. So running index. This is a means of numbering up any item you want. So very quickly, I'm not going to show you how to do it. I'm just going to show you what it does. I can very quickly number up, say, these climate beams like this, and you can either do it automatically, or you can click one by one, and you can see there that it's actually numbering, and I've got a tag set up to inherit that number in there. So you can very quickly number your whether it's builders work holes, climate beams, sockets, radiators, grills, you know, light fittings. It doesn't matter. You can number anything up, and then you can manage the index using that same tool, and you can come into here and you can see the index there, and you can start manipulating your your numbering system. If you want to change it, you can start at a new number or reset it, or if there's a gap or empty items, you can show that, and you can do that for anything really. You can see there I've got some builders work with no numbering system, and if I wanted to add a numbering system, I just do that, and then now my builders work can be numbered easily, things like that. So very straightforward thing to use. Merge parameters. This is, I'm not going to show you really much about this, but it's a way of just pushing a number of parameters together into one location. So for this, all it does is take parameters from the project, from any kind of category on the left, and then so I want to merge, say, air terminal width and length into one parameter, then you can choose how you want to do that, and then you can set the format in here like this. So we'll say width times length like that, and it'll take the source parameter here and here and then merge it into one parameter. You can see how the preview is going to look, and that will appear in this object variable 1, like target parameter. So when it comes to scheduling, you can push parameters together to make one parameter for the schedule using that tool. You can also use it if you've got parameters that aren't accessible in Revit, like it's very hard to, I think, when you do filters and scheduling, like offset and other parameters aren't available in Revit Native, so you could use this to push offset into a target parameter and then schedule that one instead. So it's quite a handy tool, that one there. Find and replace is just a quite easy tool to use to find components, product types, that kind of thing, and then replace them either by level or by project or wholesale or by a few objects at a time with something else. So it can be used, rather in Revit you'd have to find where these objects are either in the browser or in the view, and then manually sort of replace them using the switch out section here in the family browser there. But with this you can just find whatever you want to find in here, like the whole, as I said, you can do a type, so I want to replace all this grill with this one, and you could just do that. But also you can replace it with things that don't exist yet. So if I want to replace all those grills with something from the data set that's on the cloud, I can even look at the properties of that grill before I insert it, look at the technical data, etc., and then replace it. And all you do is press apply and it replaces it. So you can do that for all piping, electrical. So I want to replace one data socket there with something completely different, then that's what I do. And then so look at that properties. I want to replace it with this here, then I'll just press OK and it'll just replace it all. So that's find and replace. Tag tool. This is a tool to not only configure all your tags for all different categories, but also you can add tags at one level deeper than Revit allows you. So whereas Revit, if I click on like annotate, tags will only let you tag like all air terminals with one tag, or they'll only let you tag duct fittings with one tag. But if you want multiple tags for different types of duct fittings and different types of air terminals, then in Revit you'd have to, every single time you tag something, you would have to go into here and then change the tag manually to whatever one you wanted each time you tag something. So it could take a very, very long time to keep constantly switching tags every time you tag a new category. But with this tag tool, for example, if it came to, say, duct fittings, you can see there you can assign a different tag if you had one for each type of duct fitting. We've had a customer that had to tag their bends and tees and reducers with different tags to have different information on, and obviously this tool was extremely handy for that sort of thing, because it was automatically switching the tag for a bend tag and then a reducer tag as they clicked on each type, where Revit you'd have to change the duct fitting tag each time you change the category. So big time saver. And say air terminals, you have different tag for supply and extract if you wanted to. You know, different tag for airflow dampers and fire dampers and things like that. So quite useful tool. And then also you can, if you have a tag, you can also preview it in here as well and edit the tag straight from here, and then you can also tag, pressing tag from here straight into the project as well. And then two more things. Legend tool. This is a way, I'll show this one, it's very quick. This is a way of just creating a legend automatically from the information in a view or in a project, and you just set your legend configuration up as per configuring the data set, then choose how you want this legend to operate, how you pull what range of information you want to pull it out of, whether it's just this view, this floor, or this whatever it is, and then press OK. And what it does, it will rip through the view and then pull all the data that you wish to pull out of it, like this. So we can see there it's pulled out legend component, description, manufacturer, and then if you want to add new data into that, then it's just in legend templates. For example, this one again, left hand side is the category of the component, right hand side is the information you want to put in there, and then you just add that to the legend, and then that can appear like that. So you can even put like number of, you know, count the number of items on that view for you. And then lastly, last tool I'm going to show, Sheet Manager. So you click on Sheet Manager and then you click on a template sheet. So in this case it could be my first floor ventilation, and then what it does, it reads the views or the items that are shown on that sheet. So it could be a legend, it could be a schedule, doesn't matter. It could be nothing. If it's a schematic, it's just got a drafting view and a legend maybe. This has only got a sheet name, there's got nothing on it. So as you can see, as you click on different templates, you have the option of selecting new sheets, and it will number them automatically up there, and you choose, and just change the, for example, choose that to be second floor, and then you choose a view. If I had one, I'd choose like second floor ventilation in there, and then the legend that goes up. So what you can do is just keep, you know, obviously this isn't right, but I'm just giving an example. You just create all the different views. So if you had like 10 stories, or in this case 7 stories, let's say, of building, you could just choose your ground floor ventilation, or first floor in this case, and then just create a bunch of sheets on top of that, and you just press OK, and what it does, it will create the sheet exactly as per that template automatically. And also importantly, what it will do, it will also align the every single view will come in exactly the same with, you can see there's the legend that's pulled from the previous sheet, and it'll line everything up. So when you look on this sheet here, everything is perfectly aligned. So as you build up through the project, instead of having to sort of laboriously create sheets by dragging stuff in from left hand side and dragging the sheet in, then it'll just create the sheets automatically all lined up for you. So it should be a time saver on that one. So I think that's everything we're going to show today. So it was just a general walkthrough of tools without any sort of deep demonstration. I did mention there's a couple of webinars on the builder's work and the spreadsheet export import tools that we've covered, so have a look on the website for those if you want to cover those in more detail. So if you want to get in touch and have a demo in-house on this, then just please get in touch with us, and there's the usual channels to contact us on, and for the people in the UK, there's our contact details for getting in touch about a demo in the UK. So thanks a lot for your time, and I'll see you on the next webinar. Thank you.